Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, and welcome to Global Atheist News Roundup, dateline 31st of August 2024. This week's headlines. French police arrest the synagogue blast suspect. In Pakistan, a local Sharia council sentenced a teenage girl to be raped in public. German police are holding a 26-year-old Syrian man after a knife attack. The Afghan attacker who killed the German police officer recently is linked to Islam. Anti-Trump evangelical Christians make the case for Kamala Harris. Pope Francis condemns Ukraine's ban on the Russian Orthodox Church. An Iranian girl destroys a copy of the Quran in front of the Islamic regime's embassy in Denmark. Speymouth Parish Church in Moray closes its doors for good amid major Church of Scotland changes. The woman life freedom movement in Iran is not without its fearless female satirists. Here is the news in detail. French police arrested a man suspected of setting fires and causing an explosion outside a synagogue in a southern resort. Interior Minister Gérald Darmanin said the alleged perpetrator was detained on Saturday. French media reported that the suspect was shot and injured by police after he opened fire on the officers who came to arrest him in the city of Nîmes. Earlier on Saturday, a police officer was injured in the blast outside the Beth Yaakov synagogue in the nearby seaside resort of La Grande Motte. The police officer's injuries are not said to be life-threatening. 5 people, including the rabbi, were inside the synagogue at the time. The explosion was caused by 2 cars which were set alight outside. Police sources told French media that one of the vehicles contained a hidden gas canister. The suspect, who was seen on CCTV with what French media said was a Palestinian flag around his waist, also set fire to several entrance doors of the synagogue. Jewish community leader Jonathan Arfi said the incident was an attempt to kill Jews and seemed to have been timed to target Saturday morning worshippers. President Emmanuel Macron said the incident was a terrorist act. One eyewitness, who asked to remain anonymous, told the BBC, "Just as we were coming round the last corner, there was a huge explosion, a fireball into the air. It was surreal, like a film. We didn't go any further." Prime Minister Gabriel Attal and Mr. Darmanin visited the site on Saturday evening. Both had earlier condemned the attack, with Mr. Attal calling it an anti-Semitic act. See this video.
Des premiers éléments dont nous disposons, nous pouvons considérer que nous avons échappé à un drame absolu. D'abord parce que, le commandant de la gendarmerie nous le disait, les premiers éléments, notamment de vidéosurveillance, l'assaillant était extrêmement déterminé et que si la synagogue avait été remplie de fidèles à ce moment-là, si des personnes étaient descendues dans les premières minutes de l'immeuble, probablement qu'il y aurait eu des victimes humaines. Mais ce qui s'est passé ici choque et scandalise, je le sais, toutes les républicaines et tous les républicains de notre pays. Parce que la réalité, c'est qu'une fois encore, des Français juifs ont été ciblés, attaqués en raison de leur croyance.
In the Islamic State of Pakistan, a local Sharia council sentenced a teenage girl to be raped in public to atone for the crime of her older brother who raped a woman the week before. The revenge rape was reportedly carried out in front of her parents and 40 members of the village Islamic council. The rapist was let off because he allowed his sister to be publicly raped by his victim's brother. German police said they were holding a 26-year-old Syrian man in custody on Sunday after a knife attack in the city of Solingen, in which 3 people were killed and 8 injured, adding that they were looking into the suspect's possible links with Islamic State. The incident, along with the militant group's claim of responsibility, sparked concern among some politicians who urged enhanced security, tighter curbs on weapons, stiffer punishment for violent crimes, and limits to immigration. The attack occurred during a festival on Friday evening in a market square where live bands were playing to celebrate Solingen's 650-year history. Mourners made a makeshift memorial near the scene. The suspect turned himself in on Saturday and admitted to the crime, Düsseldorf police and prosecutors said in a joint statement early on Sunday. German federal prosecutors identified the Syrian man as Issa al-H, omitting his family name because of German privacy laws, and said he was suspected of being a member of Islamic State. See this video.
A suspect in German custody after a stabbing rampage in the city of Solingen arrived at the federal prosecutor's office in the city of Karlsruhe on Sunday. The attack occurred during a festival on Friday, killing 3 people and injuring 8. The suspect, who is a 26-year-old Syrian man, turned himself in and admitted to the crime, authorities said. Police said the case is under, quote, intensive investigation and that they are looking into his possible links with Islamic State. They searched garbage bins and backyards for more evidence at the market square where the fatal stabbing took place. Islamic State described the man taken into custody as a, quote, soldier of the group, but it did not provide any evidence for this assertion. The incident, which officials described as, quote, an act of terror, shocked the city of Solingen. Mourners gathered for a church memorial and paid tribute to the victims. Herbert Reul, North Rhine-Westphalia's interior minister, said the suspect came from a home for refugees that was searched on Saturday. The suspect had moved to Germany late in 2022 and sought asylum, according to German media, citing unidentified security sources. Center-right politician Friedrich Merz urged the country to stop admitting further refugees from Syria and Afghanistan. Germany's federal criminal police said there have been around a dozen Islamist-motivated attacks since 2000. One of the biggest was in 2016 when a Tunisian drove a truck into a Christmas market in Berlin, killing 12 and injuring dozens.
Anti-Islam campaigner Harris Sultan has produced a video compilation of violent attacks in Europe. This clip identifies the attacker who killed the German police officer a while ago as an Islamist. See this video.
A few months ago, an Afghan refugee fatally stabbed a police officer who, unfortunately, due to poor woke training, went to restrain a native German thinking he was a troublemaker when he was just trying to get the Afghan attacker off his mate. That proved to be a fatal mistake for the poor police officer. I made a video on that incident in detail. You can watch it separately. The link's below in the description. It's not just violent stabbings. It's also sexual crimes against the natives. We think Britain is bad. I think Germany is facing the worst migrant crime spree.
Doug Pagitt, an evangelical Christian pastor and co-founder and executive director of Vote Common Good, an organization committed to engaging Christian voters, articulated his strategy at last week's Democratic Convention, saying, "We are trying to help religious conservatives understand that it's okay for them to let concern for the common good and not allegiance to a political party determine how they vote." Pagitt was in Chicago for a series of events for Catholic voters, evangelical voters, young black voters, and interfaith leaders organized by his organization, Common Vote Good. Along with leaders of like-minded groups, Paget cited a range of liberal and progressive issues that, in their view, align with Jesus' teachings: affordable housing, fair wages, access to adequate health care, food security, and common-sense gun reform. Following the Angelus, his weekly prayer service at the Vatican on Sunday, August the 25th, Pope Francis criticised Ukraine's decision to ban the Ukrainian Orthodox Church, which has historically been tied to Russia, saying that Christians should be allowed to pray freely and that churches should not be abolished. In thinking about the laws recently adopted in Ukraine, I fear for the freedom of those who pray, because those who truly pray always pray for all, Francis said after the prayer service. Francis stated that a person does not commit evil by praying, and urged Ukrainian leaders to let those who want to pray to be allowed to pray in what they consider their church. Please let no Christian church be abolished, directly or indirectly. Churches are not to be touched, he said. An Iranian girl destroyed a copy of the Quran in front of the Islamic regime's embassy in Denmark. See this video. Nearly 300 years of worship at a historic church has come to an emotional end. Sunday marked the final service at Speymouth Parish Church after the Kirk session voted to approve its disposal at a meeting in May. The decision comes as the Church of Scotland makes major changes across the nation. That has also seen Burney Kirk, Elgin High Church, St Giles Church and Pluscarden Church, amongst others in Moray, all earmarked for closure. Churchgoers were sad to see it close its doors for good last Sunday, August 25th. Liz Rennie, the church's session clerk, said, "It's always very difficult when a church building with such historical background closes." The Woman Life Freedom movement in Iran is not without its fearless female satirists. While women continue to be arrested, beaten and killed for not wearing a hijab, this lady asks the important question, which is more worthy of arrest, not wearing the hijab or doing this, singing? See this video.
First I was afraid, I was petrified. Kept thinking I could never live. Fly to the moon and let me play. Tonight the music seems so loud. I wish that we could. First I was afraid, I was petrified. Kept thinking I could never live without you. Lily, take another walk out of your face.
Following this news, Tercia and I will be chatting with Richard DiMartino, whose interest is in theistic evolution and agnosticism. You can join in by text. This has been Global Atheist News. Please like, subscribe and share. Thank you for watching.